There is a quiet lie that most of us carry, the belief that we are broken, that the wounds we bear are evidence of our failure, that the scars we hide are signs of our inadequacy. From a young age, we are taught to see pain as something shameful, to view mistakes as stains on the soul. And so we spend years, sometimes decades, trying to fix ourselves, trying to erase the parts of our history we deem unacceptable. But what if the truth is not that we are broken, but that we have been conditioned to believe wholeness is perfection? Carl Jung, in his profound wisdom, reminds us, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." In the depths of Jung's teachings lies a revolutionary idea. Healing does not come from erasing the past, but from embracing it. True wholeness is not about returning to some imagined state of purity. It is about weaving every broken thread, every wound, every regret into the fabric of who we are. It is in this weaving, this radical acceptance, that we find the soul's true strength. To reject our past is to reject a part of ourselves. To embrace it is to become complete. The woman who learns to hold her story, all of it, without shame, without apology, becomes something powerful. She no longer hides the chapters she once wished to tear out. She reads them aloud, not because they define her, but because they shaped her. Jung called this the process of individuation, the journey of integrating all aspects of the self, light and shadow, joy and sorrow. It is a journey not toward perfection, but toward authenticity. And it begins the moment we stop seeing ourselves as broken and start seeing ourselves as whole. Wholeness is not the absence of scars. It is the presence of all that tried to break you and failed. It is standing in the ruins of your past and realizing that you are still here, still breathing, still becoming. The world will tell you to forget, to move on, to bury the pain. But Jung teaches us that what we repress does not disappear, it festers. Healing, real healing, comes not from forgetting, but from remembering and loving anyway. Today, I invite you to see yourself through new eyes, not as a collection of flaws and failures, but as a living testament to resilience. You are not broken. You were never broken. You are a masterpiece in progress, a soul unfolding, a woman reclaiming every lost piece of herself. And in that reclamation, in that fierce act of love toward your own story, lies a power greater than any wound could ever destroy. From the very beginning, we are given a blueprint for what it means to be whole. Good girls are quiet, perfect. Women are composed. Strong women do not falter. We are shown images of flawless lives, silent smiles that mask silent wounds, and we are told, explicitly or not, that any deviation from this script is a failure. And so, when life inevitably leaves its marks on us, heartbreaks, betrayals, losses, we don't just mourn the events, we mourn the illusion of who we thought we had to be. We internalize the idea that our pain is evidence that we are somehow fundamentally wrong. Carl Jung, however, saw what society refuses to see, that the soul is not meant to be pristine. The soul is meant to be vast, layered, contradictory. He understood that the psyche thrives not on perfection, but on integration, the weaving together of the beautiful and the broken. Yet, conditioned by years of expectations, many women learn to see their wounds not as chapters of their story, but as evidence of their unworthiness. They tuck away their pain, build walls around their vulnerability, and wear a mask of invincibility, all the while feeling hollow inside. The lie society tells is that healing means erasing the past, moving on, forgetting. But Jung's work reveals the deeper truth. What is repressed is never truly gone. It lives in the shadows, governing our choices, shaping our relationships, echoing in the quiet moments when the masks fall away. Healing does not mean forgetting what hurt us. It means integrating it. It means looking our pain in the face without flinching and saying, "You too are a part of me." Every time a woman is told to get over it, to stay strong, to keep smiling, she is subtly being asked to abandon her wounded self, the very part of her that holds the key to her authenticity. Jung warned that what we refuse to face will eventually control us from the shadows. To reject our pain is to reject the lessons it offers, the strength it builds, the compassion it awakens. Wholeness demands that we gather every fractured part, every scar, and hold them in our arms like lost children, not to punish, but to welcome home. What if the parts of yourself you have hidden are not your shame, but your salvation? What if the pain you tried so hard to bury is the doorway to your deepest power? Society may teach us to run from our wounds, but Jung teaches us to turn toward them, to honor them, to integrate them, to let them become the foundation upon which true wholeness is built. In doing so, we don't just heal, we transform. We become not who the world expects us to be, but who we were always meant to become. True healing, as Jung understood, is not the erasure of wounds, but their transformation. It is the ancient alchemy of the soul, the turning of lead into gold, of pain into wisdom. Yet this alchemy does not happen by accident. It requires a conscious decision to face the broken places within us, not with disdain, but with reverence. To understand that every scar is a sacred text, every tear a line in the story of who we are becoming. The soul does not grow in spite of the wounds, it grows because of them. When a woman dares to sit with her pain, really sit with it, without trying to numb it, escape it, or deny it, something extraordinary happens. The pain begins to speak, not in screams, but in whispers. It tells her what she feared to hear, that she is stronger than she believed, wiser than she imagined, more resilient than she ever knew. Jung called this process integration, the gathering of all the lost and rejected parts of ourselves into a coherent, living whole. It is not the work of days or weeks, but of a lifetime. And it begins the moment we stop running. Pain, when met with awareness, transforms from a wound into a wound healer. It teaches empathy, it builds strength, it hones clarity. It teaches us where our boundaries should lie, who deserves access to our inner worlds, and what no longer fits the woman we are becoming. Jung often spoke of the necessity of suffering, not as a punishment, but as a guide. Suffering strips away illusion. It forces us to confront what is real. And in that confrontation, we find the materials with which to rebuild ourselves, stronger and more authentic than before. The woman who turns her wounds into wisdom does not erase her past. She honors it. She knows that her scars are not signs of weakness, but of battles survived and lessons learned. She does not seek to appear flawless. She seeks to be real. She does not measure her worth by how little she has suffered, but by how deeply she has grown because of it. In a world that demands perfection, she becomes a living act of rebellion, a testament to the beauty of imperfection embraced. Jung teaches us that healing is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who we were before we forgot ourselves. The woman who integrates her pain does not return to who she was before the hurt. She becomes something more, a soul tempered by fire, a heart widened by sorrow, a spirit fortified by storms. She no longer hides her wounds. She wears them as medals of honor, signs of a journey well-traveled, proof that brokenness was never the end. It was the beginning of becoming whole. There is a sacred truth that lies beneath every wound, every scar, every moment of doubt. A truth so simple and yet so revolutionary that it changes everything once it is seen. You are not broken. You never were. The world may have told you otherwise. It may have pointed at your pain, your failures, your lost battles, and whispered that you are not enough. But Carl Jung reminds us that the soul is not defined by its fractures. It is revealed by them. Wholeness is not something you must earn. It is something you already possess, hidden beneath the layers of who you were taught to be. The belief that we are broken keeps us trapped in cycles of self-rejection. It keeps us chasing endless fixes, constant improvements, the illusion of perfection. It convinces us that we must become someone different before we are worthy of love, respect, belonging. But the truth Jung uncovers is that healing is not a process of changing into someone new. It is the shedding of everything false, everything that was never truly ours to begin with. It is the return to our original, untouchable essence. Imagine for a moment that you were never broken, that every crack was a place where the light could enter. Imagine that your sadness, your anger, your fear were not flaws, but sacred guides, messengers pointing the way back home. To see yourself as whole is not to deny the pain. It is to honor it as part of a larger, richer, more complex story. A story that makes you not less, but more. Jung spoke of the self as the totality of the psyche, conscious and unconscious, light and dark, joy and sorrow. Wholeness, then, is not the absence of struggle, but the embrace of it. The woman who stops trying to fix herself steps into a different kind of power. She stops hiding her scars. She stops apologizing for her existence. She no longer shrinks to fit into spaces that demand her silence. She knows that every part of her, the strong and the soft, the wounded and the wise, has a place in the sacred architecture of who she is. She understands that being whole does not mean being perfect, it means being real. And in a world addicted to appearances, there is nothing more radical, more beautiful, more necessary. You are not broken. You are a living, breathing testament to resilience. You are a masterpiece, not in spite of what you have endured, but because of it. You are the sum of all your experiences, the light and the dark, the joy and the grief. You are the song and the silence, and in accepting all of it, you become whole not because you changed, but because you finally remembered who you were all along. To embrace your story, fully, without hesitation, without shame, is to reclaim your power. It is to look at every chapter, even the ones written in tears, and say, "This too is mine." It is to understand that nothing was wasted. Not the failures, not the heartbreaks, not the nights spent questioning your worth. Carl Jung taught that the path to wholeness runs not away from our wounds, but directly through them. Every moment you wish to erase has, in truth, shaped the unshakable foundation upon which you now stand. The world will tell you to forget, to move faster, to numb the pain with distraction and noise. But you, who have tasted solitude, who have dared to sit with your shadow, know a deeper truth. Healing is not in forgetting, it is in remembering with love. It is in gathering every broken piece and seeing them not as ruins, but as sacred fragments of your becoming. Jung's individuation is this very process, not a fleeing from the self, but a deep, unwavering return to it. When you embrace your story, you step out of the prison of perfection and into the freedom of authenticity. You stop apologizing for the scars you carry. You stop seeking validation from those who cannot comprehend the vastness of your journey. You begin to walk differently, not hurried, not afraid, but rooted. Rooted in the truth that you are whole, not because life has been kind, but because you have been courageous enough to stay, to endure, to heal, to transform. You do not need fixing. You do not need saving. What you need, what you have always needed, is to come home to yourself, to look at every part of your story and bless it, to thank the pain for what it taught you, to honor the wounds for the strength they built, and in doing so, to realize that your power was never lost. It was only waiting to be reclaimed, hidden beneath the illusion that you were broken. So today, as you stand on the threshold of your own becoming, remember, you were never broken. You were simply being shaped, chiseled by life into something vast and uncontainable. And now, it is time. Time to stop running. Time to stop hiding. Time to embrace every scar, every shadow, every shining moment of your story. Time to step fully into the power that has always been yours. Close your eyes for a moment, breathe deeply, and ask yourself, what part of your story are you now ready to embrace without shame, without apology? If this touched your soul, share in the comments. What have your wounds taught you about your strength? Your truth could be the light someone else is searching for.